Yes, good morning and welcome back to Football Heritage TV. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I'm in Spain and just waiting for... It's a little bit overcast. Behind me actually looks all right. In front of me it's a little bit overcast. So I thought I'd record this video and then get back to the sunbed and try and attempt getting a tan. So where are we? Tottenham Hotspur today and yesterday have been linked by both Paul O'Keefe and Fabrizio Romano with Desiree Doue of Stade Rennes and also Pedro Neto of Wolves. Let's talk about that. Before we do, what I would ask you is please, when responding to these videos, please remember they're just football opinions. Yesterday, unfortunately, I've had to report and block a number of people. Last night, my wife was called a whore by someone saying that I deserve for her to be called a whore because I don't want Kyle Walker-Peters. I was called poisonous. I was told to go and die of cancer. I was told I was a rapist and also a paedophile. There's no need for this. It purely is a football opinion. So please, can we keep it at football opinions? If you don't like me, just don't respond to the video. If you want to debate it, but let's just keep it friendly. So let's start with Desiree Doue. So Desiree Doue is a seriously talented footballer. I don't think anybody can deny that if they have seen any of Ligue 1. Now, I've seen a few times, I've seen Desiree Doue play, and very, very good. Talented on the ball, very good close control, drives forward with a ball. A real good skill of his is driving forward with that ball. But what's more impressive than all of those traits is the fact that he can play from the right, the left, up front, or from central midfield or attacking midfield. So this is a very diminutive, versatile footballer. So a very, very good footballer indeed. Currently with France at the Olympics, where he's played 2 games and scored 2 goals. A very good player. Now, this is where it gets interesting. He is yet another teenager. So this is a 19-year-old midfielder. Now, there's nothing wrong with that at all. But then you add that to Archie Gray, who's an 18-year-old midfielder. Then you add that to Bergvall, who's an 18-year-old midfielder, and then Papassar, who is currently or just turned 21, I believe, in the last season. That's a very young crop of central midfielders. So this makes it very interesting that Spurs are very much going down the youth route. What am I, American? The youth route. Now, people will say you can't win anything with youth, and other people will say, oh, what Man United did in 1994 or whatever it was. But to win with youth, you've got to have quality around them. So this is going to be very, very interesting to see what do Spurs do in that midfield area. How does it affect our senior midfield pros? Let's have a look at that. Can you play both Desiree Doue, Bergvall, Sarr, Gray? Can you play 2 of them at the same time? Can you play 3 of them at the same time? Could you, for example, play Desiree Doue in attacking midfield with Gray and Bergvall behind them? I don't know. I'm just asking a question. Would that have enough know-how? Would that have enough experience? Is there leadership in there? Are we planning to do that? Or do you put them in with some of the more experienced ones? The problem with that for me is the more experienced players at Tottenham Hotspur in that midfield area are also some of the most inconsistent players at Tottenham Hotspur. So if we look at those players, you've got Yves Bissouma, who we all know how talented he can be. Fits and starts at Tottenham Hotspur, brilliant at Brighton. But Brighton fans will tell you he was frustrating. Spurs fans, we know he can be frustrating. And it all comes down to that word again for me, which is consistency. Now, I can put the exact same thing with Bentancur, extremely talented. We know that Bentancur's a very good footballer. A typical foreign midfielder, technically good with his feet. But again, too many games seem to pass this guy by. Now, the injury wouldn't have helped. Of course the injury wouldn't have helped. But even before that, Juventus fans said that he just wasn't consistent enough. I personally didn't think he was consistent enough in a Spurs shirt. I think he turned up against a lot of the lower half teams. Against the top half teams, I thought the game kind of passed him by a bit. I'm not knocking his ability, but again, you've got Bissouma and Bentancur, for me, both very inconsistent. Then you add to that Ollie Skip, who, I've already said it, I just don't think he's good enough to be at Tottenham Hotspur. And then you've got Lo Celso as well, and Højbjerg. Now, you would think that Lo Celso and Højbjerg would probably be leaving the club. You would think Doesn't always work like that, but you would think, wouldn't you? Lo Celso's been here 5 years, and if we're really honest with ourselves, even the greatest of the Lo Celso defenders, let's be brutally honest, he's not really done a lot. He's been in and out the team, he's been out on loan a number of times, and he's never really settled under any manager. So I think that he will go, which I think would be good business for Spurs when he's got 1 year left on his contract. Pierre Højbjerg's getting less and less game time. Again, another one who's terribly inconsistent. Good on his day, but how many days does he have? So this makes it very interesting in the Spurs midfield conundrum. So does that mean then that we bring in another experienced midfielder? Does it mean that we go with the 4 young ones we just talked about, which is Sarr, Bergvall, Doue and Gray, and then we partner them with Basuma and Bentancur and the rest go? Does this solve... Here's the next thing before we talk about Pedro Neto. Does this solve the number 6 mystery? Now, I'm not really one for number 6s, number 8s, number 10s. It seems to be a common thing moving forward. Before, back in the day, you used to be a really good midfielder or you weren't. You got back, you defended, you got forward, you scored, you tackled, you passed, you headed, you created, you did it all. Now people seem to just be specialists. But as a fan base, we've been talking about this, all of us, the collective, for a year now. Spurs need a 6. We can't defend because we need a 6. The defence is brilliant, and it will be brilliant, right, if we have a number 6. This is what we've been hearing. None of the players we've signed, none or Doue, for example, if he comes in, none of these people actually solve that defensive midfield issue, do they? So do we believe that Spurs bring in Doue, Bergvall, Gray, plus a number 6? So 4 new central midfielders this summer? I don't know, let me know your thoughts. Do we need a 6? Where is Doue going to play? Is he going to be attacking midfield? He can play from the right, the left, up through the middle. One thing it does do, other than the 6, it gives us great options. Europa League gives us a lot more games this year, so a lot of these players will get game time. Now, I was speaking to somebody yesterday over dinner, sitting on the dinner table next to me on a holiday, and he actually said he's an Arsenal fan, and we were talking about who they bought and who we bought. And he said, look, you're buying some good young players, he said, but is there a danger that they all block each other's path? And I hadn't given this any thought, really, but could it be that? Could it be that because we bought Bergvall, Gray, Doue, possibly, and Sarr, that there isn't enough room for all of them to get enough game times to really develop and reach their potential? A word you hear a lot is ceiling. People pretend they know what everyone's ceiling is, and that's fine. But surely to hit that ceiling, to hit that potential, you've got to play a lot of games. So there's just food for thought. Do they block each other's path? Do they help facilitate each other's path? I don't know. That's going to be a conundrum for Postecoglou. That's something that he's going to have to deal with. For me, I still feel we need more experience in there. I feel it fine, buying as many youth players as you want. I still feel that the best clubs, the best winning teams, the teams that build, the teams that grow, they have that seniority in there. Bring through the youth, sure, but you've got to have some seniority. You've got to have that ready-made quality in there already. So, food for thought. It's a lot going on in our midfield areas. It's going to be very interesting to see what we do. Last thing I'll say on the midfield, do we think any of them go out on loan? I would suggest that Sarr wouldn't, because he's been in the first team now for a season after being on loan a couple of times before. I don't think you can pay 40 million, 30 million, whatever the price was for Gray, and put him out on loan. Does Bergvall go out on loan? A bit of an unknown quantity, if we're brutally honest. Does he go out on loan? I'm not sure. It's going to be fun finding out. Let's see. But Doue, for me, is the one I'm most excited about from all the youngsters. See, everyone says I'm negative. I'm not. I've seen Doue and really, really like Doue. Gray I've seen and I'm okay with. He looks okay. Doue, for me, looks a proper footballer. So for me, I would have just signed one of them. But let's see what they do. Now, the next player is a very exciting player. There's a caveat, of course, but the next player is very exciting. Paul O'Keefe has said that Spurs have reignited their interest in Pedro Neto. Now, we all knew that we wanted Pedro Neto in the January window, but nothing really materialised from it. Now, it appears that Spurs have reignited their interest in the Portuguese winger, who is now 24. Now, this is a winger who, for me, is superior to every other winger at Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. This is the sort of guy, when I say raise the bar, move the needle, this is what I'm talking about. We know what he's like, his dribbling skills, his crossing, his assists. the way he glides with the football. Brilliant footballer. But, and you all know the but that is coming, and this isn't me, everybody is saying this, the guy can't stay fit. Now, yes, every signing can be a risk, but is it a bigger risk when you've got a guy that is known for his long-term injuries? I was doing some research this morning. He has not completed more than 30 league games for 4 years now, which is a true worry. And in the last 3 years, I believe it's 20 league games, 18 league games, 19 league games. So is this a worry? Can you build a team around a player that you know is always injured? It's a tough one, isn't it? Because the player he is, sorry, I feel like I'm going to sneeze in a minute. The player he is, I would love him at Tottenham. He is diminutive. He is that tricky winger. He is the player we need. This is what we should be buying. Not Johnsons, not Werners, not Solomons. This guy. But can he stay injury free? If he can, that is a superb signing from Tottenham if we can get it over the line. And also the talk is that Wolves will be easier to structure a deal with than Palace would be for Eze. Now listen, I would love Eze. I would rather Eze. I mean, I'd love both. We know Tottenham won't do that. But it looks like a deal will be easier to structure for Pedro Neto than it would do for an Eze. So what do you think? Doue, do you want him or not? Pedro Neto, do you want him or not? Remember, these are sources such as Paul O'Keefe and Fabrizio Romano. So this isn't just paper talk. This is proper reporters who know the game, who know Tottenham Hotspur. Let me know what you think. It's going to be very interesting. Looks like our midfield's going to completely reshape. The last question I would ask is this: If Pedro Neto does come in, do you think that means Solomon and Hill both go? Do you think they both go anyway? A lot of questions. There's a lot of stuff going on at Tottenham. It's going to be very interesting. At the moment, as I said, I've not been overawed by it. I thought we brought some young players in. But if we were to bring in Doue and Neto, that for me would spark some real creativity in the football team. But we do need, for me, only for me, and I think for a lot of you as well, we do need that proper number 6 player that can sit in front of that back four and protect. Because if we keep playing the inverted fullbacks, we're going to concede goals. Anyway, some great stuff going on at Spurs, some average stuff going on at Spurs. But it's exciting. Let's see what happens. Let me know in the comments. Please keep it clean. And please, let's drop the abuse. Take care, everyone. Have a great day. And the sun is now finally out. See you later.